Hello everyone, welcome back to Automation in BeamNG Drive. My name is Tim, and today we're going to be building the worst car humanly possible. More so, the most unattractive and ugliest car humanly possible. A car so bland and boring that it's just terrible. We're going to do steel, we're going to do heavy-duty leather chassis, we're going to do the heaviest of everything, because I want this thing to be miserably slow, and yeah, we're going to give it like a 100 horsepower engine or something. Yeah, I made a vehicle a while back called the Alfs. That thing is basically the most average car I've ever made, and I decided, you know what, let's take the engine from that, make it less powerful, and then put it inside of this thing. You know, a vehicle that's supposed to weigh significantly more. And now we're shaping this thing to be as generic and bland as humanly possible. In fact, this vehicle is going to be so generic and bland that I'm probably not even going to speak for some sections of the video. I'm probably just going to use a Plotagon or Tomodachi Life alter ego of myself and have them speak instead, because, to be honest, this vehicle right here is going to be painted in a very special color. That's right, Pantone 448C, considered by many to be the ugliest color in the entire world, and also the most visually unappealing color in the entire world. And just look at this beauty. Brown all over. The wheels are brown as well. And you know what? We're going to put a manual 2-speed in this thing. I don't know, maybe we might put a CVT open differential, average quality. I don't know. We're currently thinking about what to put in this thing. We're going to do cross-ply all-terrain. Actually, no, cross-ply semi-slicks. We're going to make them as thin as humanly possible. We might make them slightly thicker. I don't know. 115? Yeah, that's about good. 115. We're gonna make them heavy-duty steel, -5 quality, drum brakes, lowest quality humanly possible. I want this thing to have a braking distance of like, I want to say like 2 or 3 football fields. If it isn't that high, then I'm not good with it. And also, we're going to make this thing as heavy as possible with a luxury handmade interior. We're giving this thing no power steering whatsoever. Stupidly good safety, because that makes this thing super heavy. We're giving this thing really basic parts, because this thing is going to have no features. Ta-da, 111 horsepower, nearly 5,000 pounds, front-wheel drive. And now we're on here with, you know, designing the vehicle. We're going to make headlights and taillights, and those are going to be the only things not painted in Pantone 448C. Everything else is going to be painted in this shade of brown. Everything. The interior, this thing's not even going to have a speedometer. It's going to have a gear shifter, and that is it. That is your only feature in this car. That is it. That's all you have. Like, I'm surprised I'm even getting seats that have seat belts in this game and putting them in the car, because that would be a feature technically. And with this vehicle, you're not going to get a radio, you're not going to get air conditioning, you're not even going to get door handles to like open it from the inside. No, you have door handles from the outside, a windshield. Thank your lucky stars you have a windshield, because I could have gone all Apple car concept on you and, you know, made the car with no windows, and you would have needed to use a virtual reality headset in order to see through it, which is the stupidest idea I've ever heard of. But hey, I'm fairly certain, actually no, I'm kidding. We're also putting brakes in this thing. We're giving it a name, Pantone 448C. Wow, look at how wonderfully interesting this vehicle is. Look at that, and there's our gear shifter for our 2-speed manual. And look at that, everything except for the windows and, well, the headlights and brake lights. Those are the only things that are not painted in this color. But look at that. Think of a more uninspiring car. Oh, you can't. Now, let's go to BeamNG Drive. 3, 2, 1. That was just about the most disappointing startup I have ever seen. And keep in mind, one of my startups literally took 2 minutes. That's because the car only had a 600 RPM red line. And that car at least looked the part. It looked good. And wow, this thing is miserable. Yeah, also, I forgot to mention, if you saw from earlier, this thing is front-wheel drive, and also, if you see right here, yeah, this thing controls like the wheels are made out of butter. And also, yeah, the brakes are pretty much non-existent. I think this thing has a braking distance of about, I want to say, 350-something meters, which, you know, is almost a quarter mile, or almost the length that the Empire State Building is tall. And just, this vehicle is so miserable, I can't even give commentary for it. So, here is Plotagon Tim.
Look at this piece of crap drive-by. This is an insult to the automobile, an insult to machinery, and an insult to transportation as a whole. It's getting closer to us. The driver belongs in the timeout corner for his absolutely demented and cruel taste in cars. Whoever gave this man access to automation, it's probably regretting their decision right now. Whoever designed this automobile belongs in the mentalist brigade. I'm using this particular term instead of psych ward, because I've been listening to too much Fraser Edwards.
So yeah, that was an interesting experience, having the Plotagon version of me basically insult me in probably one of the most respectful ways, knowing me, because I'm a fan of Fraser Edwards, and him saying that I belong in a mentalist brigade, which is the name of one of his songs, for some reason is both insulting and, oddly enough, I can kind of respect it. And no, I don't think this is the worst thing I could have possibly made. I could have made this thing have 10 horsepower, but I decided not to because I want this thing to actually be drivable. And anyway, just look at how beautiful it is in its dull, hideous color. And, oh no, yeah, I told you the brakes are terrible, and well, there we go. We hit a wall, and yeah, the steering's probably broken, and just this thing absolutely sucks to start up and get out of trouble. Seriously, getting this thing out of trouble is about the equivalent of, basically, it's about the equivalent of taking a one-legged horse and trying to win a horse race, the Kentucky Derby. It's like trying to win the Kentucky Derby with a single-legged horse. That horse is just gonna hop along. That's all it's gonna do. Meanwhile, the other horses are gonna go by super quickly. The other horses, literally any other car in existence. This thing is the one-legged horse. There is absolutely no way that this thing is going to make it a full lap in under 4 minutes. And keep in mind, this is the short lap we're doing. And oh, we got a little bit of initial D-drifting right there. Nice, very nice. And yeah, it's ruined. Just also, regardless of whether this thing, I'm not even driving it, regardless of whether I'm driving it or giving it acceleration or not, this thing slides around like an unhealthy amount. Like, it's like the wheels are made out of butter, or more accurately, it's like the wheels are made out of ice, and the road is made out of ice, and, okay, we're gonna cross the finish line, let's see, and you have failed me. 4 minutes and 6 seconds for the short lap, are you kidding me? Anyway, let's go to the drag race and see how this monstrosity does, and let's see. Ooh, wow, look at that flying start. When making this video, I actually had one of two videos I could have uploaded. I could have uploaded a 2,000 horsepower drivable pipe organ with a 36-liter supercharged V10, or this. And I chose this because I want to get the bad things over before we go to the good things. Let's see, what is the time we get? Oh, about 26.5 seconds, nice. And now, we're gonna do a top speed run real quick because I just want to see how fast this thing can go. Can we push it to the absolute limits of just being a terrible, terrible automobile? Currently, it's getting about 6 or 7 miles to the gallon. Sometimes it's getting as low as 5, and keep in mind this thing has the engine from an economy car, which is extra ironic. And, oh, we're about to hit 60. Nice. It only took a brisk, like, 25 seconds. Seriously, why can't I just build something normal? Why can't I just build a normal car that people actually want? Why do I decide that, yeah, I'm gonna build a car and paint it in one of the most miserable colors in existence? Yeah, I decide this is a good idea, and, I don't know, maybe Plotagon Tim was right. Maybe I am insane. maybe I should not be able to have access to automation. But in all honesty, I don't care. I did this because I thought it was cool, and yeah, we reached about 70, maybe 80 miles per hour. I don't even care. This thing is so boring and bland that, do you really think I'm actually going to care about the speed that this thing was going? No, I'm not. Anyway, watch it slide along the ground. This thing has drag slicks, technically. They're cross-ply, but they're technically drag slicks, nonetheless. That is so embarrassing. Anyway, let's go to the city. And now, with the city, we're going to be testing out, can this thing be used as a daily driver? And with that, it's time to go up this hill and see, can this thing actually do any good? And, wow. That is gonna be the single most disappointing moment in all of BeamNG history that I've ever witnessed. This thing can't even go up a hill. Like, you need to get this thing, like, a mile start. You need to give this thing, like, a mile-long head start for it to do anything. That's what you need. And just, wow, this thing also slides around, even when I'm not even doing anything. It slides around because the wheels have so little traction. That's because they're cross-ply tires, and also because they're so unbelievably thin on a car that weighs nearly 5,000 pounds. In fact, whenever accelerating, can't put the engine above 5,000 RPM. No, 2,000 RPM. I can't put the engine above that, or else they'll start spinning out uncontrollably. Anyway, let's go up this hill and... oh my. Yeah, let's just say this vehicle also sucks at steering since the traction is so horrible. And yeah, we can do burnouts with our front wheels. That is how bad the traction is. And let's see, can we go up the hill? Can we? Can we? And just like last time, no, we cannot. This is because this vehicle was designed very poorly, and also this vehicle uses, like, the worst quality tires I could possibly get, and oh no. Yeah, we're gonna drive into the plants, and, yeah, that's embarrassing. So, yeah, let's just get out real quick. We're back at the city, and, well, my goal is basically drive this thing throughout the city, try to put this thing in the water. Pretty much, that's my goal for this thing. I'm gonna try my best to drive this thing into the ocean, because there is a possibility this thing might not have good enough acceleration to do such a thing. And if it can't, that is going to be so utterly sad. Seriously, this thing needs to go into the ocean, and also, this is horrifying, because, as I mentioned earlier, this thing's brakes are non-existent. So much so that this thing just slides around regardless of whether you have it in park, whether the brakes are on or not. That's because the terrible brakes plus the terrible wheels basically make this thing uncontrollable, and it makes this vehicle an absolute nightmare to drive. And just the color of the vehicle, the texture of everything being like plastic and matte with no texture is terrible, and it makes this vehicle look soulless and lifeless and bland. And okay, this right here, that's right there, that is like an overpass of some sort. I think it's an on-ramp. I think that's what the official term for it is. I don't know. And to all the highway enthusiasts out there, don't get mad that I accidentally forgot what this thing is called. And, oh, we're actually gaining speed. We're just barely... okay, we were gaining speed just ever so slightly, but now we're actually, like, kind of struggling to get up this hill. Oh my, please make it up the hill. Please make it up the on-ramp, because if we cannot make it up here, that is going to be arguably one of the most genuinely embarrassing things ever. We already failed to go up 2 hills. We cannot fail to go up 3, and wow, nice drift. Nice, like, 10-mile-per-hour drift. That's wonderful. And just, seriously, this thing has easily, without a doubt, the worst brakes I've ever put into a car. By far none. The worst brakes. There is no other car I've made that is this bad to drive. Like, even the Tectonic vehicles that I made somehow are better at driving. The Tectonic GT, which has like a top speed of 94 miles per hour, that thing is somehow better at driving than this thing. And then there's just the original Tectonic, which literally just explodes the moment you start it up because the game can't handle it, which... okay, that car is probably still the worst thing I've ever made. This thing, close second. Or at the very least, this is the worst functional car I've ever made. It's ugly, it's boring, it's not even good, it has terrible handling, and it is just miserable. Like, this is arguably the most miserable thing I've ever driven. The shape is uninspired. What can I possibly say unique about this vehicle that hasn't already been said in this video alone, let alone other reports about Pantone 448C being an ugly color? Like, seriously, this color is said to be the ugliest color ever, and in all honesty, that's kind of affecting my opinion on this vehicle. Not all that much. Like, this car could literally be painted in neon orange and have, like, all these cool colors added to them, and I still wouldn't like it. That's because no matter how hard you try, you can't make a terrible car good unless you know, actually change what's terrible at the vehicle. The color isn't even bad. It's the material of this vehicle. It's the textures. It's just everything. And look at that. We couldn't even go into the water. Now we have to take this thing to the jump arena. This thing is a pathetic piece of garbage and is a pathetic excuse of an automobile that I want to destroy immediately. This thing just makes me mad, and this thing, without a doubt, probably gets last place for automobile of the year at the very least. This is easily the worst vehicle I've made that actually drives in BeamNG Drive, because at least the Peregrine was actually good with handling. Yes, it took 2 minutes to start up, but at the very least that thing handled well. And anyway, well, we're going down this hill at a ridiculously fast speed, and anyway, that's all, bye!